Kenny Pickett's injury was supposed to open the door for Shedeur Sanders. Instead, it crowned a new threat in Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns quarterback room has been in flux since the start of training camp, but what unfolded over the past week has flipped expectations on their head. When Kenny Pickett suffered a hamstring injury during practice, the natural assumption was that a ripple effect would place rookie sensation Shedeur Sanders into the spotlight. The script practically wrote itself. A setback for a veteran starter would fast-track the son of Deion Coach Prime, Sanders, into a real developmental opportunity. Only that's not what happened. Instead of giving Sanders a push toward meaningful reps with the second or even first-team units, Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski and his staff turned elsewhere. And in that quiet pivot lies the newest twist in Cleveland's unpredictable quarterback storyline. 24-year-old Dillon Gabriel has emerged as the biggest beneficiary of the injury, and perhaps the most serious threat to Shedeur Sanders' early NFL trajectory. The injury that sparked a shift, but not the one expected. Kenny Pickett's limp off the field last week sent waves through the Browns camp. It wasn't catastrophic, but in the NFL, lower body injuries in August can derail entire depth charts. When a QB goes down, reps must be redistributed, game plans recalibrated, and futures reconsidered. For many in Cleveland, this was the moment they expected Shedeur Sanders to rise. Drafted in the 5th round out of Colorado, Sanders brought swagger, headlines, and expectations. His college tape, highlighted by over 4,100 passing yards and 37 touchdowns his senior year, suggested a quarterback with elite potential. Add the name Sanders and the legacy it carries, and it felt like fate. But fate had other plans. Reports from Browns camp suggest Shedeur wasn't the first quarterback to benefit from Pickett's absence. That distinction went to Dillon Gabriel, the left-handed Oklahoma standout whose collegiate journey included 49 career starts, over 14,000 yards, and a reputation for calm under fire. Gabriel seizes the moment. From depth piece to depth chart disruptor. I feel like they're preparing Dillon Gabriel to play more than they're preparing Shedeur to play, reported 92.3 The Fan's Daryl Reuter, echoing a growing sentiment across Berea. The numbers tell the story. Gabriel has been getting more looks with the second team, more playbook responsibilities, and more support from the coaching staff. Meanwhile, Sanders has been quietly adjusting to the realities of the NFL, where pro-style schemes, defensive disguises, and lightning-fast decisions are the baseline. In team drills, Gabriel has stood out, delivering crisp passes, showing fluency with the offensive line's protection calls, and adapting quickly to Cleveland's system under new offensive line coach Mike Bloomgren. While Sanders has moments of brilliance, including some eye-popping zip throws in early walkthroughs, they've been inconsistent. The Browns coaches aren't just watching arm talent, they're watching readiness. And right now, Gabriel is checking more of the boxes. From Coach Prime's prodigy to NFL project. It's not a fall from grace, but a reality check. Shedeur Sanders entered the NFL with hype rarely seen for a day 3 pick. As the son of an NFL Hall of Famer and college football icon, he carried more than just expectations, he carried a brand. In Colorado, Sanders excelled in a system designed around his strengths: tempo control, quick reads, and vertical strikes. But the NFL requires more. More pre-snap diagnostics, more touch on intermediate routes, more command of protection calls, and more patience. So far, the transition has been rocky. There's been no public indication that Shedeur will see first-team reps in the near future. That absence is telling. He's not just fighting to climb a depth chart. He's fighting to prove he belongs in the mix at all. Gabriel's resume, the unsung asset. While Sanders adjusts, Gabriel capitalizes. Unlike Sanders, Gabriel entered the NFL with significantly more collegiate experience. At both UCF and Oklahoma, he started nearly every game he was healthy for, navigating complex systems and high-pressure moments. He's known for his leadership, his film room discipline, and his ability to rally teammates. Now, that maturity is translating. In 7-on-7s, Gabriel has been efficient. In 11-on-11 drills, he's shown poise. And in meetings, coaches say he's vocal, attentive, and adaptable. He's quicker on reads, already building confidence within teammates. One Browns staffer reportedly told local media, "It's not just about reps anymore. It's about trust. And right now, Gabriel has earned more of it than Sanders." What this means for Shedeur Sanders. For Shedeur, the path has become steeper, not closed, but cluttered. He's not being written off, far from it, but his debut might come later than fans had hoped. With Gabriel likely to take the majority of snaps in the Hall of Fame game, and Flacco already penciled in as the preseason Week 1 starter, Sanders could be relegated to fourth-quarter mop-up duty, a far cry from the breakout moment many envisioned. But the Browns haven't given up on Sanders. They see the ceiling. They see the potential. They just don't see the readiness yet. He's a project, priceless, but needing NFL contact beyond behind-the-pads drills. One team source put it. The key takeaway? Sanders isn't being punished. He's being preserved. And Cleveland is choosing patience over pressure. Depth chart dynamics. A new threat emerges. With Deshaun Watson's future still cloudy and Pickett shelved for the immediate term, the race behind Flacco is wide open. But if you thought it was between Shedeur and Gabriel, think again, it's no longer a race. It's a pecking order. And Gabriel is leading. Coaches are reshaping the depth chart based on what they see in real time. Practice reps, meetings, leadership traits, everything matters. And as those elements get tallied up, Gabriel keeps winning rounds. That doesn't mean Shedeur Sanders won't play this preseason. It just means his path has shifted. And fans hoping for a Week 1 backup announcement may need to wait or brace for a surprise. Kenny Pickett's injury, the non-opportunity for Sanders. Ironically, the injury that many thought would create an opening for Sanders has instead cast a spotlight on his limitations and on Gabriel's strengths. Pickett's hamstring issue will sideline him for the Hall of Fame game and possibly longer. In most organizations, that would lead to a rookie showcase. But in Cleveland, it has become a stage for Gabriel, not Sanders. Why? Because NFL readiness isn't just about potential. It's about predictability. Can you run the offense tomorrow? Can you protect the football? Can you manage the clock? Right now, the Browns believe Gabriel can. Coach Stefanski's calculated approach. Kevin Stefanski hasn't made any bold proclamations about his quarterbacks, and that's by design. With a veteran in Flacco, a rehabbing Pickett, a high-upside project in Sanders, and a steady surprise in Gabriel, the Browns coach is playing his cards close. But actions speak louder than pressers. And the reps Gabriel is getting, and the reps Sanders isn't, reveal where the coaching staff sees their options for now. What Stefanski wants is simple competition. And the message is clear, no one is guaranteed anything. A message to Sanders fans: patience is the plan. It might be disappointing for the thousands of Sanders supporters hoping to see him shine in Canton. But this isn't the end. It's the beginning. The Browns didn't draft Shedeur Sanders to start Week 1. They drafted him because of what he could become by Week 12 or 2026. They see a quarterback with elite athleticism, exceptional work ethic, and generational leadership traits. They also see a young man transitioning from a unique college system to one of the most complex and demanding roles in professional sports. That takes time. And they're willing to give it to him. Final thoughts. A depth chart rewritten. Kenny Pickett's injury didn't open the door for Shedeur Sanders. Kicked it open for Dylan Gabriel. In doing so, it also challenged the perception of what the Browns' future at quarterback might look like. Instead of a coronation, Sanders is facing competition. Instead of a shortcut, he's walking the long road. But that doesn't mean he's lost. In Cleveland, patience has become the plan. And as long as Shedeur Sanders keeps putting in the work, his time will come. Just maybe not yet. Jimmy Haslam puts Kevin Stefanski and Browns' front office on notice while addressing Arch Manning speculation. The Cleveland Browns have never been short on drama, but the latest developments involving team owner Jimmy Haslam, head coach Kevin Stefanski, general manager Andrew Berry, and one of the biggest quarterback names in college football, Arch Manning, may mark a turning point for the franchise. Coming off a dismal 3-14 campaign, the Browns are no longer basking in the optimism that followed their 2023 playoff appearance. Instead, a sense of urgency, and perhaps quiet desperation, hangs over the organization. Jimmy Haslam, usually one to publicly support his front office and coaching staff, has now shifted his tone ever so slightly. While he still backs Stefanski and Barry, his recent comments serve as both a vote of confidence and a warning. Improvement isn't optional, it's demanded. In the meantime, Cleveland continues to swirl in quarterback uncertainty, with fans and insiders alike speculating on the Browns' future under center. And when the name Arch Manning was thrown into the mix, it sent shockwaves through NFL and college football circles alike. Could the Browns really be eyeing college football's biggest name as their long-term answer at QB? The answer, it's complicated. The 2024 collapse. How the Browns went from contenders to bottom feeders. The Browns' collapse last season wasn't just surprising. It was stunning. In 2023, Cleveland looked poised to become an AFC North powerhouse. A playoff appearance suggested they'd finally broken through decades of inconsistency. But in 2024, the wheels came off. The Browns limped to a 3-14 finish, plagued by quarterback inconsistency, defensive regression, and off-field distractions. Naturally, scrutiny followed. Fans began questioning head coach Kevin Stefanski's leadership. Analysts pointed to general manager Andrew Barry's personnel decisions, including the high-risk acquisition of Deshaun Watson and the head-scratching draft picks that followed. And behind the scenes, many wondered how long Jimmy Haslam's patience would last. No firings, but the pressure is on. Rather than initiate sweeping changes, Jimmy and D. Haslam doubled down on the regime that led them to both success and failure. They chose continuity, but make no mistake, the leash has shortened. Speaking earlier this year, Haslam tried to temper concerns, reminding the public of Stefanski and Barry's past success. "We sat here last year and Kevin was a 2-time out of 4 years Coach of the Year, and Andrew was regarded as one of the top executives in pro football at the age of 37, Haslam said in April. "So, I don't think they forgot how to coach. I don't think they forgot how to do personnel." It was a fair point. Stefanski had led the Browns to their first playoff win in nearly 3 decades, and Barry had made shrewd moves early in his tenure. But now, Haslam has adjusted his tone. He remains supportive, but with conditions. "We're very supportive of Kevin and Andrew. Now, do they need to do better? Yeah, but so do D and I," Haslam told 92.3 The Fan this week. Translation: the Browns' brain trust isn't under immediate threat, but another disappointing season could change everything. A 40-44 legacy and a big swing and miss. Since Stefanski and Barry took over 5 years ago, the Browns have posted a 40-44 record, just below .500. Respectable but not revolutionary. It's the kind of mediocrity that lingers like a bad taste. Worse, the Deshaun Watson experiment, arguably the most controversial and costly trade in franchise history, has flopped spectacularly. Watson's fully guaranteed $230 million contract has tied the team's hands and delivered little in return, either on the field or in public perception. Even Haslam, once Watson's most vocal supporter, has started to distance himself. "That was a big swing and miss," he said of the Watson deal. Stefanski's involvement in Watson's acquisition only tightens the spotlight on his performance. And now, with Watson's future unclear and the depth chart crowded but unstable, the Browns have entered 2025 without a clear franchise quarterback. Again. Quarterback chaos. No legit QB in the room? With Watson's availability in doubt, Kenny Pickett nursing a hamstring injury, Joe Flacco aging into his 40s, and rookies Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders battling for relevance, the Browns' quarterback room has become a revolving door. There are arms, just not clarity. Internally, the organization knows this, and for a team coming off a 3-14 season, that's an unacceptable risk. When asked about expectations this year, Haslam didn't mince words. "Listen, we got to do better than 3. Everybody, coaches, players, personnel, ownership, knows that 3-14 won't cut it. We've got to do better. I think we'll know what better looks like." Off-field issues compound the problems. Adding to the on-field headaches are off-field complications. 3 Browns players, Quinton Judkins, Mike Hall Jr., and Devin Bush Jr. have been tied to various disciplinary issues that could trigger NFL suspensions. These distractions not only hurt morale but threaten depth and continuity. And with the spotlight already fixed on the front office, every misstep feels amplified. This isn't just about football, it's about culture, and the Browns can't afford cracks in the foundation. A make-or-break year? Haslam's subtle warning. Even if Haslam hasn't issued an ultimatum, the writing is on the wall. His message is unmistakable. 3-14 is the floor. And if Stefanski and Barry can't prove they're building something sustainable, or at least respectable, change will come swiftly. He won't put a number on how many wins are needed, but the bar is clear. We've got to do better. Everybody knows it. Arch Manning, the dream that might not be. Amid the uncertainty, one rumor has captivated Browns Nation. Arch Manning. The nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning and grandson of the legendary Archie Manning, Arch is the crown jewel of college football's next generation. His name carries weight, history, and massive expectations. So when Tony Rizzo of ESPN Cleveland said, "The thirst that Jimmy Haslam has for Arch Manning is unmatched," it lit up message boards across Ohio. After all, Haslam's deep ties to the University of Tennessee, where he and his family have donated tens of millions, give him a personal connection to the Manning legacy. In 2020, the Haslams gave $40 million to UT's business school. In 2023, they followed up with another $10 million to expand the medical center. Peyton Manning, one of the school's most famous alumni, has remained close to the family. So naturally, speculation ran wild. Could Arch Manning be the next Browns quarterback? Could Cleveland somehow entice college football royalty to come save the day? Haslam's response: a cold dose of reality. Not so fast. Asked about the Arch Manning rumors, Haslam offered a clear, and somewhat surprising, response. "I think if you know the Manning family, I would bet that. And I don't know Arch at all, okay? I bet he stays in college 2 years. So I don't even think that's worth discussing." It was a calculated answer, one that showed restraint amid the frenzy. Haslam didn't deny interest, but he acknowledged that Arch likely won't enter the 2026 NFL draft, meaning he's off the table for at least another year. Whether or not this is posturing remains to be seen. But for now, fans hoping to see Arch Manning in orange and brown will have to dream a little longer. What this all means for Cleveland: at the end of the day, the Browns' issues aren't rooted in one bad trade or one coaching decision. They're structural, they're cultural, they're chronic. And unless Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Barry can right the ship in 2025, the Haslams may finally abandon the stability experiment and start over again. This is a franchise teetering on the edge of opportunity and implosion. If the quarterback room finds rhythm, the defense gels, and the Browns stay healthy, they could be back in playoff contention. But if they stumble, if Watson doesn't return, if Flacco declines, if Gabriel and Sanders aren't ready, the season could unravel before Halloween. The road ahead: what must happen in 2025 for Stefanski and Barry to survive? Win at least 7 games. While Haslam won't set a target, anything below 7 wins is likely a red flag. Stabilize the QB position. Whether it's Flacco, Sanders, or Gabriel, the Browns must find continuity. Avoid off-field disasters. Suspensions or controversies must be minimized. Regain the locker room. Leadership must step up. Confidence must return. If they fail on these fronts, Haslam's subtle warning could turn into a full reset. Final thoughts. Rumors, warnings, and waiting games. Jimmy Haslam didn't fire anyone this offseason, but he didn't give a blank check either. His recent comments signal a shift in tone, from supportive to expectant. And in professional sports, expectations are everything. For now, Stefanski and Barry still have the wheel, but the road is narrowing, and the bumps are getting harder to ignore. As for Arch Manning, that's a dream deferred, not denied. What remains certain is this: if the Browns can't figure it out soon, the next press conference won't be about rumors or hypotheticals. It will be about replacements.